mostly what I'm doing is from my iPhone. So we're going to have the screen there, because I think people get it visually better. I have a list of Marty musts. These are things that I teach. As some of you may know, I teach at the Renaissance Academy, which is a continuing ed program at FGCU. And if you're sitting in the back and you can't hear me, you're going to have to move up, because I'm fighting this sort of thing. So please, if you can't hear it, feel free to move up. I teach these Marty musts. I made up that name. They're things that I think everybody should do on their iOS devices. They're in my classes, they're not recommendations. I make my students sit there and do them, because I think they're very important. I will cover some of them with you. First thing I want to do is, sorry, I got to turn myself back on here. How many of you have seen this picture before?
We've seen her.
Yeah.
This is my lovely bride. So
Maybe she's gone.
it's not my mistress or whatever. Today's her birthday, so everybody say happy birthday.
I had to buy over again, Marty.
No.
Where are you taking her to see?
Schuler's. That was her request.
Where?
Schuler's. So I want to show you, if I can get it to work here. How many of you know that there's an emergency at the bottom of your dial-in card? Does everybody in the room use it? You all know what it's for? No?
911?
Everybody thinks if I touch that button, it automatically dials 911. Well, I'm going to touch that button. And it shows you in several foreign languages. You can see at the top, it says solo emergency. And this is Chinese and Japanese, whatever. This is how somebody, if you got hit in the parking lot, would dial 911 in their language without knowing your code. So they don't have a phone, they see you have an iPhone, and they do it, right? But down at the bottom it says medical ID. Down at the bottom it says medical ID. Sorry. And what's that medical ID? Does anybody know? It's your stuff. It lets you go through your file of life, but the most important thing is emergency contact information. My son, my other son, and my wife's numbers are there. And again, they haven't opened my phone to get this. It's just right there. So Marty's must number one, for those of you in the room who didn't put up your hands, go fill in your medical information so that if somebody runs you down in the parking lot and you get hurt and you don't have anything on you.
How did you get to fill in?
Excellent. Excellent question. Sorry. I can't use my city card. I have to use my own. Now, for those of you who think that I just gave you my code, don't worry about it. Because this is temporary, because I knew I was going to be here. On your phone, you have this little hearty thing in the middle. It says health app, right? You touch your health app. It gives you this nice display of activity, mindfulness, yada, yada, yada. But down in the lower right-hand corner in gray, it says medical ID. So then you touch medical ID. If you haven't filled it in, it says edit. You go edit and you fill in the information. You can fill in as little or as much information as you want. I don't put in there all my health conditions and all of that stuff because I have file of life. So I tell them, go read my file of life in pages. But they have to open my phone to do that. Right? But all my medical information, all my contact information is readily available. And the most important thing is my blood type. And And you see I'm a lean 175 pounds.
Oh.
I did that for you. I'm really much taller than that. Okay? Sir,
I don't see emergency on my phone.
you don't see emergency on your phone?
It implies that
Because you
your phone
haven't- Because you haven't turned it on.
Your phone has to be
On
locked.
this app,
Sorry, I didn't get that.
when you say edit, it will give you show when locked. So you have to edit the app, put your stuff in, and then tell it, show when locked. Make it green, and then it will show when locked. Okay?
So it's in this app.
It's in the app, it's in edit, right? Down here where it says edit. And then you click done, and it will appear on your thing. So that's Marty's must number one. Most people don't even know we have that. Apple is a leader in for helping those of us who have some difficulty. You know, like the new headphones, the new hearing aids are, you know, assisted hearing aids. There's a big blindness test in the Denver airport, helping people who are sight impaired get around the airport. It's all Apple technology. Now they're going to have smart cars, yada, yada, yada. Jim?
Marty, I'm not questioning your wisdom, I'm just don't understand. If the point of the emergency connection on this is to be able to get information about your medical condition without being able to gain access to your phone, why do you have see the file in Pages when it means they would have to get access to your phone?
Because I do a lot of demonstrations like this, and I don't think I need to burden you all with my 86
Oh, okay.
and that stuff.
So in your real life, you don't do that?
Well, in real life, if I wasn't teaching as much as I am, I would not do that.
I got it.
Marty, just further that, do the medical people, like the emergency attendants and stuff, have a way of getting into your medical information? Do they have a code or something to put into the phone?
I'm not aware of that. I don't know how to answer that.
EMS and the ER, emergency department, know that you can, all you have to do is touch that emergency, and you get all that
Yeah, sure,
information.
sure. Yeah, almost all the medical professionals are trained to know that the emergency thing on our phone is available. And would you please turn off your cell phone, please? Another question? No.
I was just trying to fill my emergency contact. My wife is grayed out. Why is something almost grayed out?
You have to do edit. Can you do edit
Your phone has to be locked.
at the bottom?
This stuff.
Edit, right there. If you don't press edit, it won't let you make any of these changes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's edit number one. I'm sorry, sir.
I came in late. What was the name of the app?
The health app.
Help app.
iOS?
Is that hard?
It's this heart thing right there. It's a piece of our standard.
I didn't even know that.
It's part of the operating system. Comes with it for our phones.
I see, okay.
For iPhones only, that's right. It's not on your iPad. Okay, so that's number one.
Excuse me, I don't see edit on my.
Scroll down to the bottom.
Marty?
Hold on a minute. If you scroll down to the bottom, you see edit. This is at the bottom of the medical ID. So medical ID in the lower right-hand corner, and then you find, right?
Hey, Marty,
Done.
Is there, I guess there's no way to put your height in centimeters.
How do I move to Europe?
hey, Marty, Marty, well, I think one of the things that needed to be said is that your phone has to be locked to start in this process. If you don't lock your phone, or if you use Touch ID
That's right.
to enable it, you don't get a chance to do any of this stuff.
That's right.
You open it with a different finger.
Say that again.
But if you,
Yeah.
You use a different finger and it won't, it won't open.
Yeah, what I've been doing, because I do use Touch ID to open my phone, what I've been doing is using my little poker thingy here to get this, to get the emergency without opening. Because if I use my finger will take me into my program.
But it still has to be locked in order for this whole
Yeah, it has to be
scenario to
locked.
take place.
Marty?
That's your problem.
Okay?
I found it in
John?
my app.
If you share phones, like we share our phones, we went to the Apple store, and you cannot put only one set of information into the health app.
Use my finger.
Unless you, if we have one Apple ID, we both operate on that one. And if you do that, you can only put in one set of information, or you have to get a second Apple ID to make that where you could have.
Yeah, that's probably true. You can get around it because if you edit, for example, if I edit this guy, it will let me put as much stuff as I want in here.
I have both.
Right.
Some of them.
So you can do that. You can get around it a little bit by adding other stuff in the
Both of
middle.
us.
Yeah, you could say, him and her or whatever.
Because she lost everything she put in when we tried that.
Yeah, you can't, I mean, for example, blood type, you couldn't put 2 blood types.
Well, I quickly inject,
Oh, does it let you put more than one?
I know I didn't read, but.
All right, so that's just issue number 1. Issue 2, which I'd like to show you, is, I shouldn't say issue, right? I should say, there's a plan here. There are a lot of questions about iOS. And I think we spend a lot of time in these meetings, where there are resources available from Apple that are very good. All I did here was I opened Safari. You can see at the top it says apple.com. And then I went into the little search field, and I typed in iOS 10. And when you go to iOS 10, there's a lot of information that you can then click. For example, it says here, more personal, more powerful, now this is advertising, right? So they're trying to hype it a little bit. But then it says, watch the film. Now, I'm not going to watch the film, because you all can watch the film on your own, right? But click watch the film, and there's a film about what that means. And then you scroll down to the next part, and it says some other brilliant things. Tap back, just tap to send one of the quick responses, and it tells you all about the cool little message features that we were sort of messing around with a couple of weeks ago when Mitch was here and somebody asked a question. There are people in Apple who obviously have way too much time, right? Because the new iOS that came out yesterday or Monday, 2 days ago, has more of these little squiggly features in it. Now you can do all sorts of other new cool things. So there are a lot of engineers in Cupertino who, are just filling their days thinking of weird stuff for people to do.
There are a lot of customers who are interested.
They have a lot of customers who are interested. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people 30 years younger than me who are maybe 40 years, maybe 50 years younger than me, 50 years younger than me who are playing around with all this stuff. I just had a birthday, so I had to do a little cipher. But it explains all this sort of stuff. So I just wanted to point that out. There are resources available at apple.com. You can go through. The new Maps feature is now updated in iOS 10.2, which came out Monday, and it does even more cool things. Personally, I don't use Apple Maps because I have Waze, and I like Waze. You all know about Waze?
Yes.
No. Oh, this is going to be such a fun session. I'm only on the first morning. All right, I'll show you Waze. Waze is off to the left there. It says WAZE. It's a interactive mapping directional software, but there are thousands of Wazers. We're called Wazers. Like now we all have to be tweeters because the president-elect is a tweeter. But Wazers, as you drive around, you get interactive information about what's going on around you. Now, in Naples, it's not quite so important. But when we were in Cincinnati, it was pretty interesting to see 1,900 Wazers around me telling me there's an accident, there's a policeman, there's a construction, and you just do it, you just do a little funny.
Get a free app.
Yeah, it's great, yeah, yeah. Sorry, it says downloading language, and I'm not quite sure why it keeps doing that, but, because I keep speaking the same language. But here we are, there are 527 Wazers around me, and if I touch this little guy, it will show me their feedback around me and what's going on. Very interesting. So it's a very nice free app. Okay, so what's my next one here? How many of you notice that on my home page, my settings is in the upper left-hand corner? Where do you all keep your settings?
Lower right.
Lower right?
Yeah.
Any place. That's the problem. Mostly everybody keeps it any place. So my second rule is, and the reason this is important, is if you're on page 10, I have a lot of apps because of what I do, I teach and coach and stuff. If you're on page 10 and you want to get back to home to find your settings, how do you find your settings? You do this.
Where else the thing?
Right?
No, a double tap on the home will take you to the home page.
Yeah. Single tap on the home, takes you back to the home page, and lo and behold, there's my settings in the upper left-hand corner. Now, some people say, put it in the dock, and then it's always there. That's an alternative. But I don't have enough dock space now because I've got the 4 things that are important to me on my dock. So I put it in the upper left-hand corner. I know I can do one touch. I get back in, and I touch settings, and boom, I'm right there.
Because we got folder in the dock.
Yeah, you can put a folder in the dock. Then it's 2 steps. Yeah, you can't put a folder in the dock. I like single-step stuff, so it's just a personal. But folders in the dock or putting it in the dock and taking something else out is important. All right. How many of you have security codes to lock your phone? Is there anybody in the room who does not use a code? Really? All right, so leave your phone, please, because I'm going to do some really bad things. Even make it a simple one, but please lock your phones. It's really just setting yourself up for some Yahoo. We've been hacked, just personal example now. My wife's credit cards have been stolen 3 times. My wife's income tax return was falsely filed last year. I mean, it's just, they had nothing better to do. And I get 10 or 12 emails a day from somebody who wants to give me $10 million or $100 million or whatever. It's just, you just have to have a code, right? Now, my second point is, don't make it 1 2 3 4 or 1 1 1 1 or 2 2 2 2, because then they can get in real easy, right? Make it something that you can remember. Touch ID is wonderful. Apple has done a really good job with Touch ID right there. I'm in settings, Touch ID, right? So you go to Touch ID. If you don't want to remember a code, right? I moved it around here. If you don't want to remember a code, Touch ID lets you put your finger on it. It lets you use a right finger or a left finger, right? Why do I have 2, left finger or right finger? Because sometimes I'm holding the phone this way, and sometimes I'm holding the phone this way, so I want to use right or left, right? What else do you notice up there? My wife's thumb. This doesn't have to be one person's thumb. It can be any person's thumb, or forefinger, or anything. So my next rule is, get somebody else in your family who can unlock your phone by using Touch ID. I learned this from my 10-year-old grandson who got his father to let him play with his phone by putting his thumb, right? I told this kid when he was 4 years old, got his first iPad, I said, Isaac, every time you learn something, when you come over to visit me, because they lived here until December, every time you come over and listen to me and visit me, you have to tell me something you learned. And he looked at me and he said, Grandpa, why? I mean, you're grandpa, you know everything. I said, because you're going to learn all about the iPad way faster than I learned it. And honest to God, for the years from 4 until he was 12 when we moved, he would come over and show me something new. And that's one of the things he showed me. He showed me that he could put his phone, his finger, and open his phone. And I said, gee, that's a really clever idea. I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of left finger and right finger, frankly. But those are 3. So do that. Use Touch ID for everything. Then the other part about Touch ID, of course, is where can I use it? I use Touch ID for my iTunes, for Apple Pay, and for unlocking the phone. Those are all Marty musts. It's all part of
You
one.
can make your one password really, really complex and don't have to use it.
That's right.
With,
You hear what Bob said? You can make your one password very complex, the master password, but never use it because you can make your Touch ID open your one password. I used to have a very long one password sentence. Something that, you know, most people wouldn't think of about me. I would write this really long sentence, and then I had to type it in every time. I never got it right. I would type it in 3, 4, 5 times, right? Because it never worked. And then I got Touch ID for one password. So you can open apps with one password, and that's really helpful. Sir?
What about false negatives and false positives with Touch ID?
Yeah, there are some. His question was, what about false negatives and false positives? There are some. Sometimes when you do if you do your finger and it's sort of moist, you put it down, it won't register properly. Sometimes if you put it down at a slightly different angle, it won't register properly. I've never had a false positive. I get a lot of false negatives because I might just, you know, I'm not paying attention to putting my thumb down on the finger. And a lot of it also is a function of your training. You know, when you do your right thumbprint and you train it, if you don't quite get all the corners to show, you know, I have a scar on this finger, and if I don't do that, if I didn't do it properly to register that scar, it would give me a false negative. Okay?
So where do you set up the one password?
In one password.
In one password itself?
I'd ask you if you want to use Touch ID. A lot of banks are using it now, like if you go to Bank of America, once you put your code in and your password in, then it'll say that you want to use Touch ID. You might have to go look for it, but it's there. Same thing with the USAA and Citibank. They all do Touch ID. There was a question back here somewhere.
Yeah, right here.
Right,
Is
sir.
there any reason to have more than, say, 4 digits for a password on a phone?
Any reason to have more than 4?
Right.
They can figure out your code in 10,000 chances, right, with 4.
Right.
It takes them 100,000 chances to do it with 6.
And you can use letters if it's more than 4.
Yeah, you can do it, that's right. You can make the arithmetic.
How do you get your iPad to ask for 6?
How do you get your iPad to ask for 6? In here somewhere.
Change passcode, you're past it.
Say it again?
You scroll past it, change passcode.
Oh, change passcode right there. Here's my old passcode, and then if I did my old passcode in 4, it would then ask me if I wanted to do 4 or 6. All right, there's one other thing I want to point out on this page, because it's another one of my Marty musts. If you're in Touch ID, and you're all down at the bottom here, it says erase data. Whoops, sorry. You see at the bottom it says erase data. Read the gray letters under it. It says erase all data on this iPhone after 10 failed passcode attempts. What's that mean? That's what it says, right? Somebody stole your phone. Your phone wouldn't matter because you don't have a lock. But some other people have 4 different things. It takes them 4 tries. They try 1, 2, 3, 4. They try 1, 3, 9, 6. They try 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 1, 1. And after 10, what happens? It it's useless, because it erased all your data. Right? So you want to check that. Everybody should have that checked.
But they can keep the phone.
You know,
Yeah, they can keep the phone, but, you know, the choice is the phone or my bank account. Right? In my case, the phone's worth more than the bank account.
but once they get their A side act, can they reinstall everything and use it for their own?
Sure.
So it doesn't actually disable your phone, it just erases everything.
I thought Apple now breaks up after that failure.
After what? It does what?
It breaks up. I mean,
Oh, it does?
the theft level of iPhones is down because the Apple and also Google have changed it so that after that failure, you can have it set so your phone breaks up. It can't.
In other words, it will never operate again?
It will never operate again.
Okay, I didn't know that. So.
Great.
Everybody heard that answer?
No.
After the 10 tries, Jerry says that it now freezes the phone so it can't be used by somebody else for some other purpose. I didn't know that.
Do you feel that TAMS includes phone, Touch ID in TAMS, or just in American?
I think it's only code. Yeah,
Because
passcode.
after so many failures with your thumb, it automatically brings up the
Asks you for a
things
code.
with the code.
Yeah, and you all know if you turn the phone on and off, it asks you for your code, so you have to remember the code anyway. Okay?
You mean if you do a hard use?
Yeah, or if you
Yeah.
make it go to sleep and start over again. Backing up, everybody backs up in this room, right? Anybody who doesn't back up? Oh. This is a great group. This is just a great group. There are two ways to back up. One is really simple, and one is almost really simple. There's a little plug, there's a little thing here that's called General. And in General, again, I'm still in settings, right? In General, it says iTunes Wi-Fi Sync. iTunes Wi-Fi Sync. So what do? You take your phone home at night, you're going to charge it, so you plug the little white thing in here and you plug it into the wall, and you're on your home Wi-Fi network. And your home computer has Wi-Fi, has iTunes on it, and it's open. It will then sync your phone to your computer wirelessly over Wi-Fi. So it's really, really complicated. There are two steps. Sorry. I can't turn the business calls off. The first step is you have to plug it in the wall. And the second step is you have to turn iTunes on. And every night it will back up automatically to Wi-Fi to your computer. That way.
You have to turn iTunes on.
Yeah. If it's not open, it doesn't, I don't think it works unless it's open. The second thing is the easy one. I go to iCloud, and I scroll down here to where it says backup. Backup. See it? Backup. And I press on. Then I don't need to plug it in. I don't need to have Wi-Fi. I don't need to do anything. If I'm in a hotel and I do it, it still goes to the cloud. And it backs up most stuff to the cloud. Now, why do I say most stuff? Read the little gray writing that Apple tells us. Automatically back up data such as your photo library, accounts, documents, health data, home configuration, and settings when this iPhone is plugged in, locked, and connected to Wi-Fi. And the Wi-Fi is so that it gets to the cloud. And the reason that I say most is because this says it connects backup data such as. It It doesn't back up every single thing on your phone, all your accounts, all your apps, all that. With iTunes, it does. Right? But you have to do backup. If you're not doing backup, you're just waiting for the Lord to decide to make your hard drive fail. And it happens. He's a sadist. He likes our hard drives to fail. She. Right? Right on.
Marilyn, I think if you check on iTunes, if you do the Wi-Fi sync, there are a few things that it does not back up.
That's right.
And if you do the cloud, if you check those things in both your iOS device and your computer, it will back up pretty much all of your stuff. But the best thing to do is, every once in a while, is to literally plug it into your computer and back up everything.
That's right. The third step in backing up is exactly what Marilyn just said. I do it every month at the end of the month. When my wife says I have to pay the bills, I know I have to go plug my computer and plug my phone and plug my iPad into my computer and let it back up to my computer. And that's the way you get everything backed up. All your apps and all your music and all that stuff. Marilyn's absolutely right. So 3 things I'm backing up. One is iCloud.
Can you do that again?
One is
With
iCloud.
iTunes?
2 is iTunes. And 3 is plug it in once a month. Just remember, on the 30th of the month or the 31st of the month, it's the end of the month. You know, a new month's going to start. You got to take that page off the calendar or whatever. Back it up. Plug it in at night into your computer. What was your question, Tom?
Can you do iTunes again?
Can I do it again? Can you show me?
Must have missed something.
You're in general. General. You scroll down to iTunes Wi-Fi sync.
Thank you.
Okay. Question? There was another question over here somewhere? No. Okay. Jim?
I don't know if it's the strength of my home network or not, but sometimes my phone will sync with iTunes without being plugged in if the battery life is high enough.
Yeah, and the plugging in part, I'm not quite so sure about. I think what Apple's concerned about is if they set it the other way, there would be people who would have, pardon me, there would be people who would have, 2% battery life and then wonder why they didn't sync properly. So I think they just tell us to do it that way. But it does work. If you have 90% battery life, it's fine. Sir?
What is the value of doing iTunes over iCloud?
iTunes is there's a little bit less stuff that goes to iTunes by Wi-Fi than in the cloud. The most backup that you get is with everything on your phone is plugging it in. Okay? This is one that people ask me about, and I think it's really a funny thing. I went to general and about. How many of you named your device? Mine's called Marty's iPhone 6 Plus. It's a 6 Plus, and it's Marty's, so it's Marty's iPhone 6 Plus. I have some friends who say it's the FBI Central. Whatever. So name your devices. Why is naming important? I'll give you an example.
Do you give me a coffee cup?
No, I have a thing here. If I go to the command center,
Everybody know how to go to the command center?
control something.
Swipe up.
I just swiped up from the bottom, right? Command center.
You want water, Mike?
No. AirDrop lets me see anybody who's in the room within a range of me. So that if I want to send you a picture, I'm getting there, hold on. I was worried about this. Oh, come on. See, my wife's a workaholic, so I'm trying to find new work. All right. Let's say I was going to send this. I can send it to George, Scott, Jay, Scott, Jerry, Carl, Robert, and then I have iPhone, Bill Nye's iPhone. So the point is, one point is, by numbering it, by labeling it, then you can go see who you want to send it to. So I can send it to all of you, or I can just pick one or two of you to send something to. You all know that you can airdrop to anybody as long as you make it as long as you say everyone is open.
But it has to be.
No speakable content could be found on
It
the
has to be
screen.
an Apple product, and it has to be within a vicinity. It can't be in the rest of the library. I'm not seeing people in the other room when I see all these people here. Right? Bill has his picture on his ID, so I can see Bill's face. I say, that's the right Bill. So AirDrop is a very cool way. People ask me all the time, how do you send pictures from your iPhone to your iPad? Or from your iPhone to your Mac? Or vice versa? AirDrop. It works fast. It doesn't truncate the pictures. It doesn't make them smaller. You can do movies. AirDrop's a very handy way to do it.
You can do music too.
You can do music. You can do files. For example, I can go to my iCloud. And in my iCloud, I have where are the Marty Musts? Oh, they were there. I'm sorry, I'm usually not snorkeling all over. I was in service the other night, and the lady next to me was snorkeling, and the lady behind me was snorkeling. I knew I was going to get it. Anyway, I can take any document that's here, And I can send it to anybody on through AirDrop. So you can do documents, music, pictures, files, whatever you want to send to someone else, you can do with AirDrop, as long as they're within the close range like this.
You might not want to have it set up to receive from everyone.
Yeah, that's right.
I have it set up just to receive from contact, my own contact.
There are three selections there. When you go to AirDrop, it says receiving off, contacts, or everyone. Because again, we're in this circumstance, I leave it open to everyone. And that means anybody who's within range, I can send stuff to. But normally you would leave it either contacts only or receiving. And it's not something where somebody can send you something or take something. You have to accept it, or you have to send it. It can't, it's not just like accessing your phone. Okay? Questions about that?
So the default setting should be
Off. I leave it off except when I'm teaching. It's just one more thing to not have open. Okay, let's quickly talk about iCloud. Because we're doing a class on iCloud, and I think we're covering it elsewhere too. Sorry. Go back to settings, right? iCloud is a really important part of iOS. And I just want to sort of talk you through a couple of things. First of all, you set up iCloud using your Apple ID. Now, let me just take a diversion here for a minute. Apple ID, you can have an Apple ID. Your wife can have an Apple ID. You can have a third Apple ID for the iTunes store. Those don't have to be the same, right? You can use a different Apple ID for your home sharing when you use your Apple TV, right? And the trade-off you're making is how information is shared between those four or between those three. For example, my wife has her own Apple ID because her music and her books are different than my music and my books. And if we had the same iTunes store, then we'd be seeing the same stuff and downloading different, her stuff and my stuff don't match, right? But for home network, we use the same Apple ID everywhere, right? Because at home, we don't really care whether it's hers or mine, it's all on the same network. So you can have different Apple IDs, they don't cost anything. You don't have to make an email with them. You just use an Apple ID, right? What's storage? Storage is how much storage is in the cloud that I'm using. Now, how does Apple make money? They make money by selling us more and more storage, right? They give you, what, 5 gigabytes? But my phone's 135. 132. So what do I know immediately? When I back it up the first time, I'm going to get that little message that says, too much storage, you don't have enough storage, and you buy more, right? Here's my storage, right? Photos is 1.3 gigabytes. My backups take 51 gigabytes and 28 gigabytes. And then all my other apps and stuff, store stuff on the cloud. So you can find out that information by clicking on Manage Storage, right? And change the storage plan, just lets you go up or down, usually up in storage, right? You can pay $2.99 a month, $9.99 a month, or $19.99 a month. And then you can downgrade if you want to downgrade. What's the rest of this stuff for? iCloud, Drive, Photos, Mail, Contacts, Calendar. All this stuff is because you're syncing, you're syncing across the cloud. So for example, the difference between my iPad and my iPhone, I want my documents to be either here or there, depending on what I need, when I need them. Usually if I'm in the audience, I'm taking notes, and I'm taking notes on my iPad. But if I'm in the doctor's office and I want to review something, I probably only have my phone with me. So by clicking these little red, green things here, it then tells me I'm going to sync across my documents. I'm going to sync across the clouds. I'm going to sync my documents across the cloud. Right? I'm going to sync my notes or sync my contacts. Why would you ever want contacts not to be synced? Maybe you only use this one for business. Maybe your iPad's only for personal. Maybe your lovers are on your phone and you don't want them to be synced with your house, so you turn that off. Whatever. I just made it up. See if you're interested. Safari syncs your bookmarks. That's how Safari makes sure that what you look at here, look at there, and look at here, all your bookmarks are there. Right? News, notes, home. I don't use reminders, so I turn that off. It's just personal preference. But that's what you're doing when you're syncing, when you're clicking all these little guys. The last thing, I'll get to you in a minute. Okay. The last things here are keychain. Now, if we use one password, do we need keychain? If we use one password, do we need keychain?
No.
No, right. You only need one or the other, right? I use it because, again, for teaching purposes. Keychain is the same as, keychain is similar to one password. It deals with your credit cards and it deals with your passwords, but it doesn't do it quite as securely because when you open it, it shows you the information. So I started with keychain back several years ago, and now the only reason I keep it open is for demonstration purposes. Backup is what we just talked about, right? We back up to the cloud and then take space. The last one is Find My Phone. You should have Find My Phone on. That's another Marty must. Why do I want Find My Phone on?
Find it.
So you can find it, sure. Somebody can go on the web and looking for your Apple ID. You can go to iCloud.com and look at your Apple ID and find where your phone is. And some people, when they find their phone, they left it in the library or they left it on the beach or whatever. Right? Hold on a second. Oh, I'm done. Okay, you were first.
Backup
Backup.
is on. Mine is off. When I click on, I get a message that says your iPhone will no longer back up to your computer automatically when you sync with iPhone.
Yeah.
Well, what it's doing, what it's telling you is that it's automatically backing up your content to the cloud. And it's not going to automatically back up to your phone or to your computer unless you plug it in.
So that way, the best system is to back it up to the cloud and as you want to back it up mechanically.
Right. Jim?
Marty, some parents have the ability to track their kids' phone. Is that part of iOS, or is that a separate app?
No, it's part of iOS.
How can you track somebody else's phone?
Find friends.
Yeah, Find Friends, right? Is it a separate app, though? Yeah, it's a separate app, actually.
Yeah.
Find Friends,
Find friends.
so you can
Okay.
find anybody.
There's another way too.
They have to give you access.
Yes.
On that last screen, or the next last screen, there was a sign out button on the bottom. What was that all about?
What was the sign out button for?
iCloud.
Oh, on the bottom, that's that sign.
Signing out of iCloud, because I'm in the iCloud section.
Why would I want to do that?
Some people don't want to use it or don't like to use the iCloud email, so they just say, I'm not going to do that.
Marty, last summer I was visiting my sister in Michigan, and she is not real computer savvy. And she has an iPhone, but she never keeps it turned on. And she couldn't find it. And in the meantime, I'm upstairs, and her daughter calls me, and granddaughter, they were in Africa, and they called and talked to me, and I said, she can't find her phone. About a half hour later, the phone is buzzing, and they had found her phone, and it let out a noise, and she didn't, I think, have it on.
It's
But it was
interesting
under a lot of paperwork.
If the battery dies, what I was just going to show you is if you touch Find My iPhone, there are two choices here. Find My iPhone lets you locate the phone, and then Send the Last Location sends that to the cloud, so that if you do it and the battery dies, you can still at least find, well, it was in this room. Or
Yes.
it might be
Well, that's
gone
what
by
it
then.
did. It sounds, that's real loud noise.
If you go to privacy, you can also share your location, which is another way you can keep track of where people are. If their phone would be set to that. I also would follow up on Scott's question about when you turn the iCloud sync on, it tells you it's no longer going to sync with iTunes. It's because if you do both syncs, you'll get double everything. So it's a protection from getting double contacts and double mail and all that sort of.
That's important.
Yes.
Where is that?
What's the path on that?
So the point was, when you turn on iCloud backup, it will ask you, it will tell you that you're turning off your computer backup. Otherwise, to Marilyn's point, if you're doing both, you wind up with duplicates of things.
You have to set it up in iTunes
I've had
to turn
duplicates,
that
so
on.
it's really a pain in the neck.
Oh,
Dick Shapiro. You have iCloud on there. What would be the advantage of using iCloud Drive? Envision iCloud.
iCloud Drive turns on, and it lets you store documents and data in the cloud. Right? And for example, here are a bunch of things that are different applications that I have allowed to store things in my iCloud Drive. Think of iCloud Drive as another hard drive, but it's not in your hand. It's not plugged into your computer. It's up there somewhere. In our case, probably Tallahassee or Atlanta or something. But it stores your information on the drive. And then, just as I did here, here's my iCloud Drive. And I have all sorts of stuff on my iCloud Drive. Because when I do a document, I take that document and I store it on my iCloud Drive so that I can access it everywhere. So even if I'm at home working on my Mac, I'll store a document that I want to have access to everywhere. And I'll put it on my iCloud Drive. I use it for reading, for example. I'll put my reading things, because you can. If you're in a doctor's office or you're waiting for a meeting to start, you want to read something, you have it right here and you can read it. So iCloud Drive is like that.
If you don't use Pages, Keynote, or whatever, numbers, is there any advantage to iCloud Drive?
Well, again, there's all sorts of apps that store on iCloud Drive.
PDFs.
Any PDFs, any photos that you want to store that you don't want to store in Photos, you keep it separate. I use it for all sorts of stuff. My scanner app, I'll look at one other little diversion. This scanner app, Scanner Pro, is made by Beetle, and it's really superb. It's really, really fast. It's free. Scanner Pro. It has pattern recognition. So if I wanted to take a picture of this thingy, you see what it's doing now. It's just looking at all the things I've scanned. all of that kind of stuff. Let me show you. It's a Scanner Pro. It's a very good free. It must feel the way I feel. See the little plus in the lower right? You just touch that little plus. Of course, when you want to demonstrate to 65 people,
Down at the bottom where it says add,
no, that's every page. Okay, anyway, let's see it. We'll give it one more try and then we'll just. Oh, all right, forget it. Anyway, Scanner Pro is very good. Well, the ad is for a separate, it is for another page. Let me just use the last few minutes here. Other questions? So I've posted this on the website. If you look under, you're all familiar with our website? How many of you have gone on the website? Good, excellent, thank you. Our website is moving along. If you go to on the left-hand side now, you'll see calendar and classes. The class schedule is now published and the class descriptions are now published. So all of that's there. And then if you go to topic forums, the iOS forum is here. There's Marty's musts. Here's the handoff links from the earlier meetings, and then I posted Jeff's presentation for Monday. The wireless networking thing is there, and the networking slides are there, and the one password presentation is there. So what we're trying to do is get the Monday meeting stuff and the Wednesday meeting stuff under those categories, but they're also available by topic. So you don't have to remember that it was the November meeting where we talked about ABC.
Yesterday I tried to log in and it would not accept my password or ID, and so I clicked the lost your password and it didn't, an error came up. So I'm
just email me when that happens, because I'm having some issue and I don't know what it is yet.
thank you.
And your email is?
Yeah, it's Marty. You can just do secretary@naplesmug.com or something.
Bill, on one password on my iPhone, if I click on to open, nothing happens. I've got them all synced with my computer. Works fine on the computer to open the site, but nothing happens here. Why is that?
I don't know, I can't answer that question. I don't know. Put it on the discussion. Oh, really? Put it on the discussion group, somebody wants. Jeff will probably answer. Don.
For those who are unaware, on the website, you can renew your membership.
Yeah.
So if you don't have to log in or anything, there's a PayPal link don't have to have a PayPal account. You can pay with any credit card. So we've gotten good response so far, but I'm still getting things in the mail. So you'll want to familiarize yourself with that, because for classes, we are going to require that you pay in advance when you register for a class. And it'll be on the website, or it'll be somewhere on the class registration page. But we're going to do like we did in the past, correct me if I'm wrong, Eckhart, we're not going to open all the classes at once. We'll open them, as we go along. And there'll be an email that goes out, and it'll be posted on the forum when registration is available for each class.
Two things are happening. We should open the class registration, I think, in a couple of weeks. Yes. For the first classes, because the first classes are January 23rd, so we'll open them. And then we'll be voting by email this year, or by Survey Monkey, to make it a little bit easier on counting the ballots and all that kind of stuff. And that'll happen in the next 30 days as well. Two other things about iOS 10. 10.2 came out on Monday. I put it on both my iPad and iPhone. It works fine. The press is good on it. It's been out for beta testing for a few weeks. So I would say you're okay to go to 10.2. Do it at home, make sure you have enough battery and all that, or plug it in. It takes maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes, depending. My iPad was faster than my iPhone for some reason, I don't know. Two things that are interesting. There's a new app that is now called TV. You see it in the lower left there. It replaces the old video app. Remember the old blue screeny thing that said videos? It's now TV. And when you open TV, you get something that looks like this. It goes in and it finds your library and TV shows and movies and which things were recently purchased and which movies were recently purchased. And then it gives you a bunch of different options for hooking up HBO and Stars and Hulu and Showtime and CBS. What you have to do with the networks is you have to sign into your home provider. So for example, for us, Hotwire is our home provider. And in order to see CBS, I had to put in my Hotwire username and password, but then I can watch it on my phone. Showtime, I'm not a Showtime subscriber, so I don't do it. The ones that are noteworthy that they're not here, guess what?
Amazon Prime.
Amazon's not there, and Netflix isn't here. So Apple is sort of taking the way of Google. They're not interfacing with the guys who have all the content. So for me, this is going to be very useful, except that it shows my movies and other things. So that's one new feature. The other one is this home app. The home app looks like this. The home app is the little house, the second one down at the bottom there. Little yellow kind of house thing. And when you open the home app, it asks you to add accessories and start building your connected home. Most of us don't have any accessories that work with our Apple TV yet. If you do, I'd be really interested in hearing about it. I haven't been able to find them, so that's one issue. But this is for the Apple version of home connectivity.
John, frequently lately on the news they tell you that this is one way people can get into your house that's electronically still fixed with these accessories you put in.
I think a lot of it is going to depend on what kind of security you use. As Jeff said Monday night, if you have good security on your network and you're tying these things into your network, you'll have that kind of security. If you go to Home Depot and you put it in without any security, then but I don't know if I'm going to get excited if they want to turn on my microwave.
Marty, what was the first app you mentioned?
The first app is the video app, the TV app. It's now called TV.
Because I don't have TV, but I have the other one.
You don't have a little thing like that?
No, but I haven't,
Did you update the 10.2?
not yet. But the home is on here.
Yeah, the old home is on there, this is the new one.
Okay.
All right, I'm sort of out of town, I posted this on the internet, see what the other choices are. There's one password, setting up shared calendars and notifications, and I'd be happy to take those questions. Marilyn?
We're going to, it seems like a lot of interest in things and settings, and we're going to cover all of that in depth in the iOS 10 class. So if people are interested, you might want to sign up for those iOS 10 classes.
Yeah, Marilyn, of course, is going to do in 3 hours, you know, and I just sort of did.
Well, that's what I was trying to emphasize, that you can go into more depth if people are interested in it.
Can we sign up now? Is there
No, they'll be posted when you can sign up.
Basically, the issue is, you know, we have 50 people who are going to try and register, and if we tried 10 classes all at the same time, we'd be going crazy. You know, Eckert would be going crazy. All right, any other questions before we break up?
I have a question. Did you cover Apple Pay on this way?
I did not cover Apple Pay, but Apple Pay.
I know Apple Pay works just great at the Apple Store.
Apple Pay works great everywhere. I use it.
Well, I go to some places that don't have it, but they say that they accept it. And when they go in there, they go through the cycle, and my item comes up on, you know, the screen of the card that you have there. And then we do what they ask for, and it doesn't go through. And then if they do it a second time, it goes through.
I don't know why. I use it everywhere.
Even on Apple Pay
You just sort of
stores.
hold your thumb like that. It says hold near the reader. You put it near the reader, and it goes. I use it at McDonald's, Staples, Apple Store.
Walgreens.
You can use it online now. Walgreens uses it.
Okay, use this for classes.
Thank you.
Can you use this for classes? No.
I'm not doing PayPal,
You can use PayPal.
but I'm not doing it.
Then you use a credit card. Any other questions or